Yo, what's up? It's Nene. This is Tuesday Night Spotlight. Ooh, Tonka Trucks was probably my favorite music video as far as shooting. I did that with my boy Cam, and it was my first time meeting Classic Mark B, who ended up becoming my regular go-to guy for videos. We shot it out at MacArthur Mall. Had a little bit of a theme to it, but just kind of winged it, and we just had a ball. It was awesome. It was real fun. We had squirt guns. We had our construction suits on, and we went into the mall. They were renovating and whatnot. We actually got kicked out by security, and we snuck back in and stuff. They had a stage out there, and we distracted somebody and ran up on the stage, and yeah, it was just everything kind of fell into place. And then whenever we got that video back, it was my first time, like I said, working with him. It came back way better than I could have possibly imagined. So I'd say that was probably one of the most fun videos. Another video that was right up there is Less Complicated with Rachel Rushlow, who you're very familiar with, and this other guy, Henderson. That one was a more involved, planned video. We had multiple locations. We had a skating rink that we rented out for the night. We went down to the beach and shot scenes. Outside of my parents' house, we shot scenes. It was a 90s themed music video, so got a bunch of people together. Everybody got to dress up in the retro clothes, and yeah, that was definitely up there. Close second as far as videos go. So I've always been into art. When I was a kid, I was really into drawing and sculpting with clay and everything, but I always had a love for music, kind of a passion where I always had music playing, always trying to discover new songs. Probably around like my 8th grade year, 7th grade maybe. My cousin Jordan, he kind of really started introducing me to hip hop. And back in the day, we had the iPod touches. There's this I Am T-Pain app that auto-tuned your voice. And so I downloaded that, and I ended up recording a cover of Lil Wayne's, I think it was Prom Queen. And so that was my first time ever recording something just into my little microphone. And I went and I showed my cousin, and he was like, oh, he hyped me up. He was like, this is so dope. And he wanted to mess around with it, started doing it. And then I was like, oh, I got this recording program on my laptop. So then we spent the next couple nights recording into the little built-in laptop mic. We started out doing covers of songs, then started doing remixes of them, then started coming up with originals. He lived in a few hours away, and so it wasn't extremely easy, especially that was back before I could drive, to get together. So I just kind of started doing it on my own. It was all just for fun. It was just like a hobby. That was back when Wiz Khalifa dropped Black and Yellow. And so that came out, and it inspired me to do Green and Yellow for the Green Bay Packers. I'm a big Packers fan. Then, after a couple months, ended up getting like 15,000 views or something, which at that time, I didn't know what I was doing, was recording into my laptop mic, didn't know anything about mixing, mastering, any of that. And that made me realize, oh shit, people can hear me. And so that's when I decided to take it seriously. And it was kind of like a natural progression from doing the drawing and all that to just writing lyrics. I kind of changed focus from doing that side of art to doing the music side of things. And so that's kind of how it all started. Yeah, so this project was entirely different from anything that I've done before. Previously, I was very album centric. I would plan out albums in advance and kind of be like, okay, I want to tell this story. I kind of had a vision ahead of time. The thing with that is I do most of the stuff myself when it comes to, I write everything myself, most of the time record myself. I do some mixing myself, and then I have this guy, Severin DeCroce. He does like the final mixes of tracks. And the artwork, the videos I have a hand in. So because I'm doing everything myself, it's a time consuming process. And so I realized when I'm working on albums, I was going long periods of time without dropping any. This day and age, you have to be consistent. There has to be something coming out regularly from an artist if you really want to get momentum and progress. So I was like, all right, instead of focusing on creating an album and spending years putting this thing together, I'm just going to make songs as they come to me and put them out if they are quality enough. So I started it out with just putting out a bunch of singles. This album has been about 4 years in the making, but it hasn't been on hold for 4 years. I had put out, the first single from it 4 years ago. And at the time, I didn't have an album in mind. It was just a song. And then a few months later, put out the next one. Then the next one, took a little break. And then I really was like, all right, I need to focus on music. And I just started turning them out. After I started putting them out like that, I was like, man, it has been a while since I put out a cohesive album, everything together. When I kind of realized that, I was like, it's probably about time to put something out that's a body of work. And all the singles that I put out, I personally felt were really strong. I was like, they all deserve to live somewhere on a actual project. With that though, I didn't want to just make a compilation of the singles that everybody's heard, put it out, because then there's nothing really driving for new people to come in and listen to that. So I started listening through, hearing themes that were common throughout the different songs, which was a little bit hard because I didn't have a album concept in mind when I was making them. And I realized that in nearly every single song that I had put out up to that point, make some reference to this area. I'll say Virginia Beach, 757, Seven Cities, Virginia. I'm proud of where I'm from. I was born and raised here. Once found that theme, I was like, all right, now I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to compile those songs together onto the album, but then I definitely want to add new tracks to it to keep it fresh, bring in old listeners to listen to new stuff while bringing in new listeners to the old stuff. Over half the album, I would say, was already out as singles. And then the second half, I kind of focused in more on that concept of the album to pull it all together, tie them together. So I reference the different songs in some of the newer ones, tying everything together. And then the intro track, I took portions of every single song on the album where I say the title or whatever, and I created an intro that it goes through the names of all the songs that you're about to hear that's coming up. That really kind of tied it together. Something's in the Water, obviously, it's a reference to the music festival put on by Pharrell, Something in the Water. Pharrell's a big inspiration to me. He's from this area. I feel like that whole festival, it's more than a festival, it's kind of a movement, and there's this whole energy about it around this area. So, in combination with reflecting what the content is about on the album, it also puts that energy behind it. My following up until this point has been kind of spread out worldwide. I haven't had a huge local following. I started on the internet, so putting stuff out. So I have people in Germany and Bahrain and, Canada and all this that are listening to my music, but I don't have a ton of people from this area that really know who I am, aside from those that used to come out to my shows. But the past several years since COVID, I haven't done a whole lot of performance. So I wanted to try to capture the local audience, bring that in. So what better way to do that than to take something they're familiar with, something's in the water. I feel like people in this area are going to be searching for that. When they do, hopefully my album comes up, they check it out, they like it. And, that's my, the kind of plan and idea behind it. But that's how the whole thing came together. extremely proud of it. I think every track on there is a thing. Man, with 18 track, hold on, let me pull the track list up so I can see it in front of me because it's a lot to think through. Best bars, I would have to say Up to Something. So that's the second song on the album after the intro that kind of preludes everything that's to come. That's got to be a toss up between Eclipse and Tonka Trucks.
Any particular song give you a slight edge?
You know, Tonka Trucks. I'd say Tonka Trucks. Tonka Trucks, every time that thing goes on, it just hypes me. Ooh, best vibe, I would probably say Liddy. Liddy, it's just a feel good kind of party track. Sometimes, I mean, as artists, you probably know, some songs just come to you like no effort at all. You don't think you write to it, and then it's just like it happened, and that's how that came together. And when that happens, it's like, all right, I did something.
Song most likely to blow up in a different country.
In a different country, ooh, all right. It's more of a throwback sound. It's like the beat is almost classic Kanye inspired, but it's got the singing hook that, you know, draws people in. I think it's pretty catchy. And then I got a little children's choir at the end to close it out and stuff. Just overall, I think that song could be very relatable to a lot of people, no matter where you're from. That's like picking
at the moment at the moment of recording at
the moment. Welcome to the Jungle has got to be my favorite of the newest tracks, not the previously released singles. And since it's a newer song, that's what I've been listening to the most. I'm dropping the music video for it tomorrow, and so I was working on that video last night and everything, and some final touches on it. I'd say that's probably my favorite. Splash is up there too. It's kind of hard to choose, but I would love to perform at Something in the Water. So Pharrell, Pusha T, Missy Elliott, somebody from this area that is involved in that, get me on that. I am trying to be a part of that big time. I think that would be just the icing on the cake and really cement what I've been working towards. So definitely that, I would say, major collaboration. I love working with people, as you could probably tell on the album. I have a lot of features on there because I feed off of other people's energy. To pick a particular artist to put on that bucket list, I mean, I have a whole list of artists that I would love to, but this is kind of left field, not even really like super hip hop focused, but Ed Sheeran, I think, is an incredible songwriter, and he can do every style of music. He raps on tracks and stuff. A lot of people aren't familiar with that because a lot of people know him for his radio hits and stuff. But yeah, he's got tracks with 50 Cent, Eminem. I mean, he started out rapping, and I've seen him perform live twice, hands down the best live performer I've ever seen. He does pretty much everything himself. He builds up an entire band sound with his loop pedal. So talented. I would just love to create something with him because I have no idea what it would sound like. Creating something that I can't even picture is exciting, you know? But I mean, I have a whole list of artists that I would love to work with. But at the moment, he's definitely up at the top of the list. Yeah, so we got the live performance, we got the collaboration, and then a third thing. So I found out a few months ago that I was listed in the Grammy Museum out in LA. No idea how that happened. They're having a hip hop exhibit there. They are focusing on the different regions and stuff. There's this section in the exhibit where it highlights Virginia Beach, and it's got Pharrell, Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Trey Songz, this artist from this area and right around this area. And then you got my name up there with those artists. Don't know how it happened, but I've seen it online, but I want to go out there and see that in person. That's like something that I would like to do soon. Long-term goal, get a Grammy.
Baby steps. Well, the steps are bigger than baby steps. I'll tell you that much. What was I gonna? Lastly, if in about a minute, give me a message to the youth.
Message to the youth. Persistence is key. If you have a goal or a dream, work towards that. Don't let anything get you in the way. Don't let anything discourage you, no matter how difficult that it is. Just keep pushing forward. You learn from your mistakes, get better with time, and one day you're going to make that happen. When you do, you can prove to everybody else that doubted you that, hey, I got this. That's been my philosophy. You can find my music. I have my website, naynaymusic.com. That's NAYNAYMUSIC.com. You can find everything there. I am on Instagram at naynaymusic, Facebook.com/official naynaymusic, Twitter at naynaymusic, TikTok at official naynaymusic. Yeah, so go check out Something's in the Water, out now, all platforms. I guarantee there's going to be something on there for you. With 18 songs, I switched up the styles, the sounds a lot. I got people that are sending me video clips of their little kids reciting some of the lyrics to people decades older than me. Like, everybody is finding something on there that they can relate to, and I'm sure you can too. Thank you, Studio Ntrigue, Neal Carter. Appreciate it. Neal's on the track. Eclipse with Rachel Rushlow. That one is a banger. You're a hip hop fan, I think you're going to enjoy that one. Rachel killed that hook. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. You can reach me at any of those platforms. I'm very responsive, so let me know what you think.